I got one more question for you, Greg, and it's this: if the Cubs, which is totally out of their comfort zone, were to shoot big in adding for the future, like I said, and go Luis Robert, go Garrett Crochet, and really stock up the prospects and say, you know what, we want guys that can help us win right now, and these are true, legitimate major league stars. Who are the prospects you would not be willing to part with for anybody?
Well, man, I don't believe in untouchables. Like, I love prospects. I follow prospects, and I mean, I very close to the situation there. But I mean, if you are talking actual MLB All-Stars, there are very, very few prospects across baseball that you should not be willing to move. And they probably are like the top 2 or 3. Like a Paul Skeens in March. You don't move Paul Skeens.
Right.
But like outside of that, you have to be willing to roll the dice there. But let's say somebody that they're moving them for somebody who's talented, but I do have some question marks. Like Garrett Crochet. I mean, he's awesome. And if the Cubs could get him, like, holy cow, that's a huge ad.
So is Robert. He's just hurt all the time.
And Crochet has improved anything, really, except for a half season.
Right? A little bit, yeah. He's certain. So same kind of idea, right? Like all-stars, but you do have some injury issues, and you worry about getting kind of skunked on that one. Probably Moises Ballesteros. I think that's the guy that and Cade Horton. Those are the two. Those are my top 2 prospects in my recently released Northside Bound top 30 ranking, which admittedly I'm like far more focused on the draft over the last like 6 weeks, but I watched enough that I felt like I could put a top 30 ranking that had some nuance to it. And Cade Horton and Moises Ballesteros are my guys. I'm just not moving them outside of something crazy that I can't particularly think about. It doesn't mean that they wouldn't be justified in a deal like that. I think that's the disconnect there, right? Like, fans of the White Sox, if you're watching this for some reason, welcome. But like, if you're sitting there going like, how could you say that Cade Horton isn't worth Garrett Crochet? Well, you could say that. I'm just saying that I wouldn't personally make that move.
Yeah, wait, where was Ballesteros coming into the season for you? Because it seems like he's shot up a lot of people's draft, or not draft boards, like prospect boards and radars and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people were
he was
probably
like 6th or 7th, right? For me.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Mine went at the beginning of the year as PCA, Horton, Alcantara, Casey, and Shaw. And Casey and Shaw were in the same tier. Alcantara's had some more questions. He's still working through some stuff. Still some really high ceiling. Shaw's up there. I mean, Shaw is like right there with me. I think he's actually made some really, really good development steps. I think the Cubs can afford to deal if they want to, because James Tarantos is a top 100 prospect. I really love James Tarantos. I've loved him since they were drafted. I loved him before they were drafted, actually. He was like my guy in that 2021 draft. And, but like, he's really good. Shaw's really good. They do have Nico Hornet. And they just drafted Cam Smith. You can make a move out of all of that group of second, third baseman if you wanted to. I don't know what the right move is, but I'm just saying, like, if you want to, you could trade one of them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Someone asked it in the chat, and I'm gonna ask my last Moises Ballesteros question, but like, if and when he makes it to the big leagues, where is he playing? Does he have the chops to stick at catcher in the big leagues, or are we looking at, like, I've heard rumblings about first base, but obviously might be a little bit undersized there. Is he a DH only? Like, where would you expect that he actually plays when he gets that call?
Yeah, so a couple things right away. You can't talk about Moises Ballesteros without addressing the 2 big things on him, which is the catching defense, which we'll get to, and then the height questions. He's listed at 5'7". I've asked Cubs officials on this. They don't list him internally as 5'7". Okay. Like, I had somebody who was like, nah, he's like 5'9", 5'10". There was a recent picture next to him, like him, Shaw, and Triantos at the Futures game. They were like, Ballesteros maybe like an inch or so shorter, but like these are not. He is not 5'7". I had somebody get real angry at me in replies for saying that he could play first base. And he was like, he's shorter than Nick Madrigal, who's 5'8". And I was like, buddy, I hate to tell you, as somebody who on their online dating profile said I was 5'6", I'm pretty sure that like Nick Madrigal isn't 5'8". Like, and this is no insult, right? Like I can make that comment. It still worked, by the way. I'll say that.
Nice.
And it worked. And it worked for Nick Madrigal. So, good for him. But like Moises Ballesteros is not shorter than Nick Madrigal. I don't place as much stock into the 5'7" thing. I've been comping him to Josh Naylor of Cleveland for a while. Very similar hitting profiles, very similar stance, very similar mechanics even, and similar overall types of production. And Naylor's like really good at first base, and he's really solid there. So I think if Moises, he's maybe an inch or two taller, but like Mo Baller can play first base if he needs to. I honestly would give him the rest of the year at catcher, though, and even all of the winter and just see. Because, I mean, shoot, like, if you feel like he can hack it, and people really like him, it's all about what the body's going to do, and the guy's 20 years old, and who knows. But, I mean, I would at least, like, I would keep sticking him out there. There's nothing that I've seen from Ballesteros that has been like, that guy's not a catcher. Like, you just jump ship now.
Man, that's wild to me because, like, I look at him, I'm like, this is Kyle Schwarber all over again because he just looks – he just reminds me of Kyle Schwarber in the body build, you know what I mean?
Only 5'7"?
Yeah, just a little bit shorter.
No, he's not 5'7".
Whatever he is, but, like –
who cares?
I'm with you. Like, I've been wanting to see Ballesteros as well, especially since he's been killing it in Iowa. But I just don't feel like the Cubs are going to give him the opportunity to catch with how they view that position. But at the same time, they're not exactly getting immense value at that position this year. So, like, I think you can argue it both ways. It would be a pleasant surprise to me if they called him up and actually let him catch.
Oh, it would for me too. I mean, I still do think that that's a little bit more of the outlier, opportunity, but I don't think it's like off the table. And so much about what the Cubs believe in are these soft skills that I can ask around, but like even his pitchers they're not going to be like fully transparent on something like that, right? Like you don't want to be a pitcher and then, say anything other than positive things about your catcher. But I haven't had any negative comments on that.
Can't wait to see Mo Baller.
I
love that part. That really got me going.
Good
Greg, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of Christmas / the draft, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
We all silly like the mayor.